The sun rose slowly over the town of Willow Ridge, casting a warm golden hue on its neatly aligned houses and tree-lined streets. It was a town where smiles adorned faces and pleasantries were exchanged over white picket fences, a picture-perfect facade that masked the occasional shadow lurking behind closed doors. 4-5-year-old Emily Carter. Mornings were a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Her pigtails bounced as her mother, Linda, lovingly combed her hair and fastened a pink ribbon. "You look beautiful today, my love," Linda said, planting a soft kiss on Emily's forehead. Emily smiled shyly, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny, Mr. Floppy, as she glanced out the window. Emily adored learning and making new friends. She especially loved her best friend, Mia, who always sat next to her during our time. But lately, the prospect of going to Little Blossom's nursery school filled her tiny heart with unease. She hadn't told her mom why. She didn't know how to explain the knot in her stomach every time she stepped into that classroom. Miss Vivian Cole, the lead teacher at Little Blossoms, was admired by parents and staff alike. To outsiders, she was the embodiment of nurturing care, always wearing a calm smile and speaking in soothing tones. Her classroom was adorned with cheerful decorations, colorful posters, a reading nook with plush cushions, and a wall filled with children's artwork. But beneath her polished exterior lay a different reality, one only her students saw. Miss Cole's voice, so gentle in the presence of adults, could turn sharp and biting when the door closed and the children were left in her care. Emily had become an unwitting target. It started with small things, Miss Cole mocking her clumsiness during dance time or scolding her harshly for coloring outside the lines. "Is it so hard to follow instructions, Emily?" she'd hiss. Emily's cheeks burned as the other kids stared, unsure whether to laugh or feel sorry for her. As the weeks passed, Miss Cole's behavior escalated. Emily's timid nature seemed to frustrate her more than anything. If Emily hesitated to answer a question, Miss Cole would slam her hand on the desk. "Do you even listen in class? Or is your head filled with clouds?" she'd snap. Emily began to shrink into herself, her once bright spirit dimming under the weight of Ms. Cole's words. Mia had been Emily's best friend since their first day at Little Blossoms. They bonded over a shared love of crayons and the same favorite book about a brave little dragon. Mia was more outspoken than Emily, often taking the lead in their games. But lately, she noticed something was wrong with her friend. Emily was quieter, her smile no longer reaching her eyes. When Mia asked what was wrong, Emily would shake her head and say, "Nothing." But Mia saw the tears that glistened in Emily's eyes when she thought no one was watching. One day during snack time, Mia overheard Miss Cole berating Emily for spilling a bit of juice on her desk. "You're useless, Emily. Clean it up," Miss Cole barked. Emily's hands shook as she fumbled with a tissue. Mia clenched her fists, her face hot with anger. Mia was only 5, but she knew what was happening wasn't right. She had heard her parents talk about bad people who pretended to be nice. Was Miss Cole one of them? On a particularly chilly Monday morning, Emily arrived at school, clutching Mr. Floppy tighter than usual. She hadn't wanted to come. "Mommy, can I stay home today?" she'd pleaded, but Linda gently reminded her that school was important. By mid-morning, Emily's worst fear came true. During story time, Miss Cole asked Emily to read a sentence aloud from the book they were sharing. Emily's voice wavered as she stumbled over a word. "Stop!" Miss Cole interrupted. Her voice cut through the room like a whip. "If you can't read a simple word, why are you even here?" The room fell silent. Emily's cheeks flushed crimson as tears welled up in her eyes. She wanted to disappear, to be anywhere but here. Miss Cole didn't stop. "You're holding up the class, Emily. Go sit in the corner until you're ready to behave like a student." The humiliation was too much. Emily ran to the corner, clutching Mr. Floppy as tears streamed down her face. Mia watched, her own eyes filling with tears for her friend. That afternoon, Mia found Emily during recess, sitting alone on the swing set. "Emily," she whispered, "you have to tell someone about Miss Cole." Emily shook her head vehemently. "She'll get madder. I don't want to make it worse, but it's not fair," Mia insisted. "My mommy says grown-ups are supposed to keep us safe, not make us scared." Emily didn't answer, her gaze fixed on the ground. Mia's jaw set in determination. She didn't fully understand what calling for help meant, but she'd seen enough movies to know that 911 was what you dialed when something bad was happening. The next day, Mia waited for her chance. During snack time, when the class was distracted, she slipped into the hallway where a phone hung on the wall. Standing on tiptoe, she managed to grab the receiver and dialed the number she'd memorized from TV shows. 911, what's your emergency? A calm voice answered. Mia's small voice wavered. My friend Emily is crying every day at school because our teacher is mean to her. Can you help? The operator paused before responding gently. What's your name, sweetheart? Can you tell me where you are? Mia gave her name and the address of the school, as best as she remembered it from the front sign. The operator assured her that someone would come to check on things and told Mia to stay safe. Mia hung up, her heart pounding. She didn't know if she had done the right thing, but she couldn't stand to see Emily cry anymore. By lunchtime, the sound of sirens broke the usual hum of the schoolyard. 2 police officers and a child welfare worker arrived at Little Blossoms, their presence sending ripples of confusion and concern through the staff and children. Mia watched from the window as they spoke to the principal. Soon after, Ms. Cole was called out of the classroom, her expression a mix of confusion and irritation. Emily sat frozen in her seat, her fingers gripping Mr. Floppy tightly. The atmosphere at Little Blossom's nursery school was electric with tension. The police officers and the child welfare worker moved with quiet purpose, their presence both an anomaly and a source of anxiety for the staff. Ms. Vivian Cole, usually composed and stern, now looked unsettled as she was escorted to the principal's office for questioning. Emily sat stiffly at her desk, her small hands clutching Mr. Floppy as if the stuffed bunny could shield her from the whirlwind around her. Beside her, Mia whispered, "It's going to be okay, Emily. They'll help us." Emily nodded hesitantly, her heart pounding. She wanted to believe Mia, but a part of her was terrified that Ms. Cole would return angrier than ever. Inside the principal's office, Ms. Cole faced Principal Harriet Daniels, a no-nonsense woman with a reputation for fairness. The police officers and child welfare workers sat across from her, their expressions neutral but firm. "Ms. Cole," began Officer Hernandez, a kind-eyed man with a steady voice, "we receive a report that there may be issues concerning the treatment of students in your classroom. We need to ask you some questions." Ms. Cole's lips pressed into a thin line. "Issues? I have no idea what you're referring to. I run a disciplined classroom, but I assure you, my methods are entirely appropriate." Principal Daniels folded her hands on the desk. "Vivian, this is serious. We've received concerns about your behavior. If there's any truth to these claims, it's better to address them openly." "I have nothing to hide," Ms. Cole replied, though her voice wavered slightly. "If anyone feels otherwise, it's a misunderstanding." The officers exchanged a glance. "We'll need to speak to the students and staff as part of our investigation," Officer Hernandez said. Ms. Cole's face paled. "You're going to question 5-year-olds? They're hardly reliable witnesses." "That's not for you to decide," said the child welfare worker, a calm woman named Marcy Powell. "Our job is to ensure the children are safe. If there's nothing to hide, the truth will come out." The investigation began with interviews of the children, conducted in a quiet room away from the main classroom. Emily was among the first to be called. When her name was announced, her heart sank. She felt Mia's reassuring squeeze on her hand as she walked out of the room, clutching Mr. Floppy. Marcy Powell greeted Emily with a warm smile. "Hi, Emily. I'm Marcy. We're just going to talk a little, okay? There's no right or wrong answers here." Emily nodded nervously, her voice barely above a whisper. "Okay." Marcy spoke gently, asking Emily about her favorite parts of school and what she liked to do with her friends. Slowly, Emily began to relax. Then Marcy asked, "Can you tell me about Ms. Cole? What is she like as a teacher?" Emily hesitated, her fingers clutching Mr. Floppy tightly. She gets mad a lot," she whispered. "Mad about what?" Marcy prompted softly. "Everything," Emily said, tears filling her eyes. "If I mess up, she yells. She says mean things. She told me I was useless." Marcy's heart broke at the pain in Emily's voice. "Emily, Thank you for telling me. You're very brave. Next was Mia's turn. Unlike Emily, Mia marched into the room with a determined look. She told Marcy everything she'd seen. Miss Cole shouting at Emily, making her sit in the corner, and the times Emily came back from school crying. Emily doesn't want to tell anyone because she's scared, Mia explained. But I called 911 because someone needed to stop Miss Cole. Marcy looked at Mia with admiration. That was a very brave thing you did, Mia. You're a good friend. While the children were being interviewed, Principal Daniels met with the staff. Many expressed surprise at the accusations. Miss Cole had always maintained a professional demeanor around adults, and none suspected the severity of her actions. However, one assistant teacher, Ms. Rachel Green, hesitated. I did notice she seemed harsher with Emily, Rachel admitted. I thought it was just her way of trying to encourage her, but maybe I should have said something. Principal Daniels frowned. Rachel, if you ever see or suspect something, it's important to speak up. Children depend on us. By the end of the day, the officers had gathered enough testimonies to paint a troubling picture. Multiple children spoke of Ms. Cole's harsh words and intimidating behavior, with Emily's story standing out as particularly heartbreaking. Officer Hernandez and Marcy Powell reconvened with Principal Daniels. It's clear that Ms. Cole's behavior has crossed the line, Marcy said. We recommend her immediate suspension, pending further investigation. Principal Daniels nodded solemnly. I'll handle it. As the school day ended, Ms. Cole was summoned back to the office. She walked in, her expression a mix of defensiveness and indignation. Am I free to return to my class now? She asked curtly. No, Vivian, Principal Daniels said firmly. Effective immediately, you're suspended. The investigation has revealed significant concerns about your treatment of students, and we cannot allow this to continue. Ms. Cole's face reddened. This is absurd. You're taking the word of children over a professional educator? This isn't just about the children's accounts, Officer Hernandez said. Your actions have been corroborated by staff and show a pattern of emotional abuse. We take this very seriously. Ms. Cole sputtered, her facade crumbling. You'll regret this. I've given years to this school. Principal Daniels stood her ground. And you violated the trust placed in you. Please leave the premises. Ms. Cole stormed out, her departure marked by a tense silence. That evening, Emily told her mother everything. Linda held her daughter tightly, guilt washing over her for not noticing the signs sooner. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, she whispered. I'll make sure this never happens again. Mia's parents, too, were proud of their daughter's courage. You did the right thing, Mia, her mother said, hugging her tightly. The following days brought changes to Little Blossoms. Ms. Cole was officially removed, and Marcy Powell ensured that Emily and her classmates received counseling to heal from the trauma. Mia and Emily's bond grew stronger through the ordeal. Together, they learned that standing up against wrongs, even when it's scary, can lead to brighter days. With Ms. Cole removed, a fragile calm returned to Little Blossom's nursery school. However, the aftermath of her actions lingered like a shadow over the classroom. For Emily, every corner of the room seemed to hold memories of her torment, making it difficult to feel safe even with Ms. Cole gone. Mia stayed by her side, a steady source of comfort, while the school staff worked diligently to help the children heal. Marcy Powell, the child welfare worker, arranged for a child psychologist to visit Little Blossoms. Dr. Amanda Price was a warm, motherly figure with a soothing voice that seemed to calm even the most anxious of hearts. Her job was to create a safe space for the children to express their feelings and begin to process the trauma they had endured. Dr. Price began by introducing herself to the class in a playful manner. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Amanda, but you can call me Amanda or even Mandy if you like. I'm here to help you talk about anything that might be on your mind. The children responded hesitantly, with Mia being the first to raise her hand. Will you help Emily feel better? She asked bluntly. Dr. Price smiled warmly. That's exactly why I'm here, Mia. To help Emily and anyone else who feels like they need a little extra care. Emily's gaze remained on her lap, but Mia nudged her gently. It's okay, Em. You can trust her. It took several sessions before Emily felt comfortable speaking to Dr. Price. When she finally did, it was in the safety of a private session with Mr. Floppy clutched tightly in her arms. "Emily," Dr. Price began softly, "can you tell me about how you're feeling now that Ms. Cole isn't here anymore?" Emily hesitated, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm glad she's gone, but I'm scared she might come back." "That's a normal feeling, sweetheart," Dr. Price reassured her. "But I promise you, she won't come back. And you're not alone anymore. You have Mia, your mom, and so many people who care about you." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "She made me feel so small, like I didn't matter." Dr. Price reached out gently, her voice steady. "You matter more than you know, Emily. And what she did to you is wrong. It's okay to feel hurt, but I want you to remember something important. What she said about you isn't true. You're brave, kind, and so very important." While Emily attended her counseling sessions, her mother, Linda, struggled with her own guilt. She replayed countless moments in her mind, questioning how she had missed the signs of her daughter's suffering. One evening, after Emily had gone to bed, Linda confided in her best friend, Sarah. "I can't stop blaming myself," she admitted. "Emily was hurting, and I didn't see it. What kind of mother am I?" Sarah placed a comforting hand on Linda's shoulder. "You're a wonderful mother, Linda. You can't change the past, but you're doing everything you can to help her now. That's what matters." Taking Sarah's advice, Linda began attending a support group for parents of children who had experienced trauma. There, she found solace in the shared stories of other parents, learning strategies to help Emily regain her confidence and sense of security. At school, Mia's act of bravery had made her a hero in the eyes of her classmates. While she basked in the praise at first, she quickly grew more interested in helping Emily feel better than in the attention she received. "Mia, you're amazing," one of her friends gushed during recess. Mia shrugged modestly. "It wasn't just me. I did it because I care about Emily. Everyone deserves to feel safe." Her words struck a chord with the other children. Slowly, the class began to rally around Emily, offering her kindness and support in small but meaningful ways. A smile here, a shared crayon there. Bit by bit, Emily began to feel less isolated. Word of Ms. Cole's actions spread through the community, sparking outrage among parents and calls for greater oversight in the school. Principal Daniels faced the criticism head-on, implementing new policies to ensure no teacher could abuse their authority again. "We're introducing stricter vetting processes for staff and providing additional training on positive discipline techniques," Principal Daniels announced at a parent meeting. "Our priority is the well-being of your children." Though trust would take time to rebuild, many parents, including Linda, appreciated the school's proactive approach. "It's a step in the right direction," she said. "We just need to keep holding them accountable." Months later, as the school year neared its end, Little Blossoms hosted a Friendship Day event. The aim was to celebrate kindness, resilience, and the importance of standing up for one another. Mia and Emily worked together to create a poster for the event. In bright, bold letters it read, "Friends make everything better." Around the words were drawings of smiling children holding hands. During the event, Emily stood beside Mia as Principal Daniels addressed the crowd. "Today, we celebrate the strength of our students. They remind us of the power of friendship and courage. Let's all strive to make Little Blossoms a place where every child feels valued and loved." As the crowd applauded, Mia squeezed Emily's hand. "See? We did it, Emily smiled shyly. For the first time in a long while, she felt something she thought she'd lost forever: hope. The healing process was far from over, but Emily had taken her first steps toward reclaiming her happiness. With Mia by her side and the unwavering support of her mother, she began to believe in a future where laughter, not fear, filled her days. The journey toward justice began almost as soon as the police escorted Ms. Cole out of Little Blossom's nursery school. While Emily and her classmates focused on healing, a storm of legal and social accountability swirled in the adult world. For Emily and Mia, this chapter would shape their future in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Ms. Cole faced multiple charges, including child abuse and endangerment. The community rallied against her, providing statements about her harsh behavior, both recent and over the years. Emily's testimony, delivered via video in the safety of a supportive environment, became a cornerstone of the case. Linda sat beside her daughter during the recorded interview, holding her hand tightly. Dr. Amanda Price was also present, helping Emily find the words to describe her experiences. "Can you tell us what Ms. Cole used to say to you?" the investigator asked gently. Emily clutched Mr. Floppy, her voice shaking. "She said I was bad, that nobody liked me. She made me stand in the corner for so long that my legs hurt." Linda squeezed her daughter's hand, fighting back tears as Emily continued. The evidence, combined with accounts from other children, parents, and even staff members, painted a damning picture of Ms. Cole. In court, the judge spoke sternly as he handed down her sentence. "Ms. Cole, your actions were cruel, inexcusable, and left a lasting impact on the children in your care. You are hereby sentenced to 5 years in prison and mandatory counseling." For Emily and her family, this marked a turning point. Justice, while not erasing the pain, brought a sense of closure. With Ms. Cole behind bars, Little Blossom's nursery school underwent significant changes. Principal Daniels, recognizing the deep trust that had been broken, invited parents and children to participate in creating a new code of conduct for the school. Linda attended every meeting, sharing her insights and listening to others. "We need a place where our kids feel safe and loved," she said. "This isn't just about policies. It's about changing the culture." The school introduced new programs, including kindness workshops, anti-bullying campaigns, and open forums where children could voice their concerns. Mia, always eager to help, volunteered to be a kindness ambassador, leading by example and encouraging others to do the same. Over time, Emily began to blossom in ways that surprised even her closest supporters. Her sessions with Dr. Price helped her rebuild her confidence, and Mia's unwavering friendship provided a steady anchor. At first, Emily took small steps, answering a question in class, smiling at a joke, or participating in group activities. One day, during art time, she created a drawing that caught everyone's attention. It showed a small girl standing under a stormy sky, but in her hand was an umbrella held by a friend. Above them, the sun peeked through the clouds. "Emily, this is beautiful," Miss Sarah, her new teacher, said warmly. "Can you tell us about it?" Emily hesitated before speaking. "The storm is how I felt before. But Mia is like the umbrella. She helps keep the rain away." The class applauded, and Mia beamed with pride. It was a moment of triumph for both girls. As Emily grew more confident, she began reaching out to others who seemed shy or unsure. One day, she noticed a new student, Chloe, sitting alone during snack time. Remembering how isolated she used to feel, Emily decided to approach her. "Hi, I'm Emily," she said, her voice steady. "Do you want to sit with me and Mia?" Chloe's face lit up. "Really? Okay." From that day on, the trio became inseparable. Emily's act of kindness marked a new chapter in her life, one where she was no longer just a survivor, but also a source of support for others. Months turned into a year, and the scars left by Ms. Cole's actions began to fade. Emily, once a timid and fearful child, now stood tall, her laughter filling the classroom. Mia, ever the loyal friend, continued to be a beacon of light for those around her. Together, they learned that while the past couldn't be changed, the future was theirs to shape. With each new day, they proved that love, kindness, and courage could triumph over even the darkest of storms. While Emily and Mia's lives were beginning to return to a new normal, the events surrounding Ms. Cole's arrest had far-reaching effects. Beyond Little Blossom's nursery, the story sparked a conversation in the wider community about child welfare, educational standards, and the responsibilities of adults to protect the most vulnerable. For Linda, Emily, and even Mia, this chapter marked a deeper commitment to advocacy and ensuring no other child would suffer, as Emily had. While Emily's transformation was heartwarming, Mia's journey wasn't without its challenges. Her sudden rise as a hero sometimes left her feeling pressured to always be strong. One afternoon, she confided in her mother. "Mom, what if I'm not brave enough next time?" she asked, her voice tinged with doubt. Her mother hugged her tightly. "Mia, bravery isn't about never being afraid. It's about doing the right thing even when you're scared. And you've already shown how strong you are by standing up for Emily." that strength is always inside you. Mia nodded, her confidence renewed. She realized that her courage came not from being fearless, but from caring deeply about others. Inspired by their journey, Principal Daniels proposed a project to symbolize the school's fresh start, a friendship garden. Every child was invited to plant a flower, each one representing kindness, courage, or resilience. On planting day, Emily and Mia stood side by side, each holding a small pot of daisies. "This one's for us," Mia said, gently placing her flower in the soil. Emily smiled. "And this one's for everyone who helped us." As the garden grew, it became a source of pride for the school, a vibrant reminder of the power of friendship and community. One afternoon, Linda received an invitation to a local community forum on child safety. It was hosted by a parent advocacy group that had heard about Emily's story. Hesitant at first, Linda decided to attend. To her surprise, the organizers not only wanted Linda to share her perspective as a mother, but also hoped Emily might be willing to speak. Linda broached the subject carefully. "Emily, there's a group of people who want to hear about what happened to you. Not to make you sad again, but to help other kids. You don't have to if you're not ready." Emily thought for a long moment. "Will Mia be there?" "Of course," Linda assured her. At the event, Emily held Mia's hand tightly as she walked to the microphone. Looking out at the sea of faces, she hesitated, then glanced at her friend. Mia gave her an encouraging nod. "My name is Emily," she began softly. "When I was at school, my teacher was mean to me every day. I felt scared and small. But then, my best friend Mia helped me. She told someone, and now I'm not scared anymore." Her voice grew stronger as she continued. "I think all kids should feel safe and happy at school. That's why I wanted to talk to you." The room erupted in applause, and Emily's shy smile widened. It was a turning point not only for her, but also for Linda, who realized just how far her daughter had come. Mia's parents, inspired by their daughter's courage, began advocating for stricter oversight in early childhood education. They partnered with other parents to push for reforms, including mandatory teacher training on emotional intelligence and regular performance evaluations. One evening, during a town hall meeting, Mia's father spoke passionately. "We trusted the system to protect our children, and it failed. We can't change what happened to Emily, but we can make sure it doesn't happen again." The efforts paid off. The local school board introduced new policies aimed at preventing abuse, including anonymous reporting systems and routine audits of classrooms. The Friendship Garden became a gathering place for students, parents, and teachers to reflect and celebrate their resilience. One sunny afternoon, the school hosted a day of gratitude, inviting all families to see the progress the school had made. Emily and Mia stood proudly by the garden, their daisies blooming brightly. Ms. Sarah, their warm and attentive teacher, approached with a smile. "I have something for both of you," she said, handing them certificates, "for being our kindness ambassadors." The girls beamed as the crowd applauded. For Emily, the recognition wasn't just about what she had overcome, but also about the new role she had embraced, helping others feel safe and valued. For Linda, watching Emily flourish ignited a passion she hadn't realized she had. She began volunteering with local organizations that supported children recovering from trauma. Over time, she became a certified advocate, working with families navigating similar situations. One evening, as she prepared for a meeting, Emily asked, "Mommy, why do you do this now?" Linda knelt beside her daughter. "Because I saw how brave you were, and it made me want to help other kids like you." Emily hugged her tightly. "Can I help too?" Linda smiled. "You already have, sweetheart." While Emily found her voice as a survivor, Mia discovered her passion for standing up for others. One day, during a school project about role models, she chose to write about her experience with Emily and Ms. Cole. "My best friend Emily is the bravest person I know," Mia read aloud to the class. "She showed me that even when things are really hard, you can still find a way to be happy again. I want to be like her and make the world a better place." Her teacher, moved by Mia's words, encouraged her to explore ways to channel her passion. Mia began organizing small acts of kindness at school, from collecting toys for a children's hospital to starting a buddy bench where kids could sit if they needed a friend. Word of Emily and Mia's story continued to spread, eventually drawing the attention of a regional news program. The segment highlighted their journey and the changes implemented at Little Blossoms. Linda hesitated before agreeing to the interview, but ultimately decided it was an opportunity to amplify the message. During the broadcast, Emily sat beside her mother, holding Mr. Floppy in her lap. When the host asked her what she wanted to tell other kids, Emily didn't hesitate. "If someone is mean to you, tell someone you trust," she said firmly. "And if you see someone who's scared, like I was, don't be afraid to help them. Friends make everything better." As Emily and Mia grew older, their bond only strengthened. They became known at school as a duo who could always be counted on to lend a hand or offer a kind word. Their story inspired not only their peers, but also the adults around them, serving as a powerful reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. For Linda, watching her daughter thrive was the greatest reward. Though the past would always be a part of their story, it no longer defined them. Instead, it became the foundation for a future filled with hope, compassion, and a commitment to making the world a kinder place. The final chapter of Emily and Mia's journey wasn't just about healing. It was about growth, strength, and the power of community to protect and nurture its children. As the ripple effects of their courage spread far beyond their immediate world, the two girls continued to inspire those around them. 1 year after the events at Little Blossoms Nursery, the school organized an event to commemorate the changes that had been implemented. It was called the Day of Resilience, and it invited families, educators, and community members to reflect on the past and celebrate the brighter future they had forged together. Linda dressed Emily in a pale yellow dress that matched her favorite flowers, the daisies she and Mia had planted. "You've grown so much, my little sunshine," Linda said, brushing a stray curl out of Emily's face. Emily grinned, her confidence blooming as brightly as the garden she and Mia had nurtured. "I can't wait to show everyone how big our daisies are now." The Friendship Garden had become a central symbol of the school's transformation. The one small patch of earth had expanded into a vibrant space filled with flowers planted by students and teachers, each one representing a commitment to kindness and safety. The garden now featured a small plaque that read, "In honor of every child's right to feel safe, loved, and valued." Emily and Mia were the stars of the day, standing beside Ms. Sarah as they cut a ribbon to officially open a new section of the playground. A cheer erupted from the crowd, and Emily smiled so brightly that Linda felt her heart swell with pride. In the weeks following Ms. Cole's arrest, legal proceedings unfolded. Evidence and testimony painted a damning picture of her behavior, and she was ultimately convicted of child abuse. She was sentenced to several years in prison and barred from ever working with children again. During the trial, Linda had been nervous about testifying, but her determination to seek justice for Emily outweighed her fears. "No child should ever feel the way my daughter did," she said firmly on the stand. While Ms. Cole's conviction provided some closure, Linda made a conscious decision not to dwell on the past. Instead, she focused her energy on the positive changes happening in her community and the brighter future awaiting her daughter. The transition to elementary school was a significant milestone for Emily and Mia. On their first day, they walked hand in hand into the new building, their backpacks adorned with matching keychains, a small heart for Emily and a star for Mia. Though Emily was initially nervous about meeting new teachers, her trust in adults had been gradually restored thanks to Ms. Sarah's unwavering support. Her new teacher, Mrs. Thompson, greeted her with warmth and immediately put her at ease. By the end of the day, Emily excitedly told Linda about her new classroom. "Mrs. Thompson is so nice, Mommy. She said she loves daisies too. I think she's going to be just like Miss Sarah." Mia chimed in, "And guess what? We're going to sit together during reading time." Linda smiled, knowing her daughter was finally getting the fresh start she deserved. Linda's involvement in child advocacy continued to grow. She began working with local lawmakers to create legislation that would enforce stricter standards for early childhood education, including more thorough background checks for educators and mandatory training on emotional support for young children. Her work was featured in a local newspaper, and she often received messages from parents thanking her for her efforts. "You've given us hope," one letter read. Because of you, I know my child will be safer. Though the work was challenging, Linda found it deeply fulfilling. She often thought back to the shy, frightened version of herself who had been too afraid to speak up. Now, she was a voice for those who couldn't yet find their own. As Mia grew older, her passion for helping others began to crystallize into a dream. One day, during a family dinner, she announced, "I think I want to be a teacher when I grow up." Her parents exchanged proud smiles. "What kind of teacher?" her mother asked. "The kind who makes kids feel safe and happy," Mia replied confidently. Like Ms. Sarah, Mia's parents encouraged her to pursue her dream, and she often spent her free time reading books about teaching and helping her younger cousins with their homework. She even started a kindness club at school, organizing events like making cards for hospital patients and collecting supplies for families in need. By the time Emily turned 10, she had come a long way from the timid girl who once clung to her stuffed bunny for comfort. She was now a bubbly, creative child who loved painting, singing, and writing stories. But one day, while working on a school project about heroes, Emily surprised Linda with a question. "Mommy, do you think I could help other kids like you do?" Linda was taken aback, but quickly recovered. "Of course you can, sweetheart. You've already helped so many people just by being brave." Emily's project, titled Heroes in Real Life, featured Mia, Miss Sarah, and her mom. "They all helped me when I needed it most," she wrote. "Now I want to help other kids too, so they don't feel scared or sad." As the years passed, the events at Little Blossoms became a distant memory, but their impact continued to shape the lives of Emily, Mia, and their families. The changes implemented at the nursery inspired similar reforms across the region, and the Friendship Garden became a symbol of hope for everyone who visited. On the garden's 5th anniversary, Emily and Mia, now teenagers, returned to the school to plant a new section of flowers. Surrounded by smiling children and grateful parents, they reflected on how far they had come. "This place looks so different now," Mia said, admiring the vibrant blooms. "That's because we helped make it better," Emily replied, a proud smile on her face. "And I think we're just getting started." Together, they knelt in the soil, planting seeds for the next generation, a living reminder that even the smallest acts of courage and kindness can grow into something beautiful and enduring.